Hey, welcome! Have you ever read a book, really gotten lost in it, and completely forgotten that it wasn't even written in your language to begin with? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the invisible art that makes that magic happen. Literary translation.
So, let's just jump right in with a big question. Is translation really just a mechanical thing, like using a dictionary to swap out one word for another? As you're about to find out, the answer is a huge no. You see, it really boils down to this one idea. Accuracy, that's just the starting point. It's the absolute minimum. But the real goal, the thing that separates the good from the great, is artistry. A fantastic translation doesn't just tell you what the original said. It makes you feel what the original author wanted you to feel. It's about creating a whole new piece of art.
Okay, so to really get a feel for this, let's look at an actual example. We're going to dive into this wonderfully vivid character portrait from a 19th century English text. It's all about an old naval captain, and it's just a masterpiece of irony and contrast.
So check out the original text. It says, "This man, who was fastidious to a superlative degree, had been one of the most fearless and skillful men in the Old Navy." Boom! Right there you've got the heart of the character, this incredibly fussy, frail guy who used to be this absolute hero. And nailing that contrast, that's the real challenge for the translator.
All right, so let's take a look at a first attempt to bring this into French. Now, it's accurate, for sure. All the facts are there. But it just falls flat, The words are right, but the voice, the soul of the author, is totally gone. So, what went wrong? Let's break it down. So here's the deal with that first draft. First off, it's way too literal. It tries to copy the English sentence structure, which just sounds clunky and unnatural in French. The rhythm feels mechanical, it's lost all that 19th century flavor, and the words, well, the words are correct, but they're neutral, they're bland. There's no spark. All right, now this is where the magic really happens. We're going to go step by step through the specific, deliberate choices the translator made to take this text from just okay to absolutely compelling. Okay, get this. The original text says the captain uses his cane to chase dogs away. The literal translation does pretty much the same thing, but look at what the final version does. The translator elevates the language to something like, "to keep at bay the canine race." It's this mock heroic language that's just perfect. It brilliantly captures the captain's puffed-up personality and the author's sly, ironic tone. And this brings us to a really cool literary principle. You can use this kind of elevated, formal language for a powerful, ironic effect. It's not just about sounding fancy. It's a tool that builds character. It shows us how seriously this old captain takes himself, while letting us, the reader, in on the joke. Okay, here's another one, and this one is just brilliant. The original text says, "His history of bravery is written in visible characters on his scarred face," but the final version uses lettres patentes, which is an old, powerful term for an official royal decree, something made public for everyone to see. And this is such a perfect example of this idea. Using archaic words can add these incredible layers of history and meaning. Lettres patentes suggest his scars aren't just marks, they are an official, public record of his valor, stamped right on his face. It just paints a way richer picture, doesn't it? All right, next up. The original text is pretty straightforward. It just calls him a Breton sailor. The final version, though, uses the French idiom loup de mer, which literally means sea wolf. This is the classic term for a tough, grizzled, veteran sailor, an old salt. It's an image that's instantly recognizable and packed with meaning. So, what's the takeaway here? Sometimes the absolute perfect word, what the French call the mot juste, is a familiar one. A great translator knows you don't have to avoid a common phrase or even a cliché when that cliché is simply the most powerful and effective choice you can make. And now for the final punchline, and it is a devastating one. The original just says his tan was due to his Indian travels, but the final French version reframes it as the sole legacy of his travels. Just think about that for a second. The implication is huge. All those years of adventure, of seeing the world, and they left him with no new ideas, no stories, nothing except a tan.
You see, a great ending line like that isn't just an ending. It's meant to deliver a final, powerful insight. It's the last thing we learn about the captain, and it basically crystallizes the whole point of the portrait. This grand, heroic life that, in the end, yielded almost nothing of substance. So what happens when you put all these pieces together, all these careful, deliberate, artistic choices? Well, you don't just get a better translation. You get a whole new work of art. You get a recreated masterpiece.
I mean, look at the difference. The final version just nails everything the first one missed. The vocabulary is rich and specific. The sentences flow with this beautiful, authentic French rhythm. It absolutely captures that 19th century voice. And this is the most important part. It reads like it was written in French from day one.
And you can literally hear the difference in the rhythm of the final text. This sentence here, it basically asks, seeing him now, who would have recognized that indomitable courage of the Breton sea wolf? It doesn't just list his qualities. It builds them up with this beautiful flowing rhythm. That is the music of the language, the balance that turns mere words into literature.
So, at the end of the day, what is literary translation? It's really an act of recreation. The goal isn't just to make a word-for-word copy, but to build a new work of art that honors the original by becoming its own excellent, authoritative piece in a new language. And it's this incredible act of recreation that lets us experience these stories from all over the world, not just as information, but as true art.
Which leaves us with one final question for you. The next time you pick up a translated book, or watch a foreign film, or even just hear a song from another country, what invisible art, what clever choices are you going to notice now?